I'm the CTO of Embrain, and I've been the CTO for 5.5 years now. Now here's an overview of the business. So, in a nutshell, the raw material is media data of all kinds. It might be digital, it might be analog. We take that and then we refine it. We process it, we filter, we select, we refine, we enrich, we provide analyses. And we do this by two means, by our own in-house developed technology, and we also have human media analysts to do high-quality work. So that's why it's called hybrid intelligence there. So the basic philosophy is use machines and machine learning for efficiency, for scalability, to deal with big data problems, and have human beings to provide the quality. Now there's an outline of the company in terms of numbers and why we believe we will be continuing to grow. Now the interesting point here is that during this program, the last bit there, beyond the 20 million mark is actually something that's happened since the last survey. So the first survey was done here while we were here around the 3 million mark for revenue, and now midway the surveys 2 and 3 were while we were growing here towards the 10 million mark, and now in June this year we acquired another 11 million company called Esmerk and grew beyond 20 million. So you sort of have to understand this, that the survey was done before the last bit. And during this period of 2 years, we've grown roughly an order of magnitude from below 3 million to 21 million, from around 30 FTEs to 260. And we are now in 7 countries. We used to be, in the beginning, only in Finland. So you understand the basic setup. And this is how our radar looks like. And now, when we started, the blue area here, well, that was, I guess, the typical naive thing that everybody... And there were more people actually participating in this survey than afterwards. So it was all around the map. You know, no real focus, pretty much everywhere. Trying a smaller company, trying to, with a lot of ambition, trying to grow fast. Now, when we looked at this and got the feedback from the program, of course, we realized that this is no good. So the second survey has already focused a little bit. It's maybe an area a little bit smaller as well, because at this point we were about to move, or had just moved to acquiring the first big acquisition, growing from 3 million to roughly 11 million. So at that point, innovation was maybe for a slight period of time a little bit toned down, for obvious reasons of integrating a 3 times bigger company. It's a bit of work. So, and then survey number 3. Now at that point we had eaten that 3 times bigger company, and we started focusing. It's still a bit wide, but we started focusing heavily on the offering on the solution side and on the process and management side. So pretty sort of standard, I guess, focus areas, and cut down elsewhere. And this was just this is where this program also sort of had an input, so that we realized that we have to do this. We cannot be doing everything at the same time. On the other hand, these directions are still quite traditional here, but this was because, as I said, we are a hybrid company. We have the human analysts and we have the technology. Now, typically our products have a varying amount of technology there, automated processing of media data for competitive intelligence needs, like how is my company doing against my competitors in media? Is customer satisfaction, is our popularity, how good is it? Looking both at editorial media, so newspapers and so on, and social media. And at this point, we didn't have a fully automated or nearly fully automated product offering, and this is what we were focusing on at that point in time. because we wanted to expand the portfolio to have also the extreme end of things where you really have fully automated products. Because we had already, with the first acquisition, pretty much, at least in Finland, acquired the market for the products where you had a lot of, or significant amount of human work. And this is what we were doing at that point. And process too. We still needed to have a high EBITDA. We needed to be cost efficient. So this was also one crucial factor. And the strategy was still targeted towards M&A. We meant to acquire that second big player in Finland. Okay, and this is what we were doing during the program. Then in June we bought this other big company with offices actually in 7 countries. So we moved also from being, again, twice as big to being international. From having just the office, well, we had small offices in Germany and Sweden, but really from having a single office in Helsinki to having offices across Europe and in Malaysia. And now this is where we are now going. And you can see that partnerships are big here, value capture is big here, customer experience is big here. So why? Well, several reasons. And now because people wanted to have examples of what partnerships mean. So with these 2 other major players sort of acquired in Finland, there's not so much room in the market anymore for the traditional products. So we need to find new segments. Our traditional segments are communications departments and marketing functions in our customer companies. And they are not very small companies by definition. So what we need to do is to go beyond that. There's a related track of international cross-selling, but we need to capture value better. We need to expand to new markets. So the shift otherwise too in this industry is to move towards marketing and extra data and activities external to actual media data. So traditionally it's just measuring the media roughly as it would be some kind of self-contained space that the customer just connects the dots that, okay, I had a campaign. So our offering is moving towards a more direct solution for marketing people. Maybe sales is one target. And what we do this by is that we try to incorporate data from outside media, like marketing activity data, sales activity data, sales measurements. So CRMs, for example, customer relationship management systems, is one thing. So customers have data, or other business intelligence systems. Customers have data about their activities and the response that is not actually part of the media data. So taking that information and coupling that with our media measurements is actually where we are going now. And there's interest in this in the traditional business intelligence field. They typically lack an advanced component for measuring media, but there's a lot of interest, especially with the rise of social media. For example, Salesforce is now moving to this marketing cloud, which is roughly the same corner of things. And to get this value capture and to get new segments, well, you need partnerships. We can't be doing this coupling, connecting the data from CRMs or other business intelligence systems to our data. You know, that's a business in itself. It's too much effort. Also, you need partners that are in these businesses of traditional business intelligence to get together an ecosystem where we can play a part. And it's actually very important as a factor. And through this program, in the previous year ago, this meeting, there was this mention of sort of it, to me at least, is sort of dawned throughout the program that partnerships should be part of innovation, not just sort of looking for resellers, as it's traditionally pretty much seen. And I've had to do a little bit of effort here first to make people understand. Platform is also related to this. already in the survey 3, there's a little bit of more effort on platform. So at least as I see it, because we've defined an interface for machine-to-machine communication, an API that we can use for quick conceptual piloting with potential partners. And now customer experience as well. This is now related both to new kinds of offerings, because we have these more fully technological products with faster development cycles. So we need to understand better the solutions of customers. And also because of the internationalization. We now have a global sales support team to make it easier to do any kind of localizations we need and to understand the different needs in different markets. Because it's a different, even though it's the same industry, it's very much different in Russia and in Finland and in France and in Germany. You can't really sell the same things. And these two together sort of build to this value capture thing. And this is sort of where we are going now. And the offering, we think, is now, we have this new, what I showed earlier in the first picture in the lower right-hand corner, this dashboard approach with all kinds of levels of studying of what's happening, getting alerts of events happening in media that are business critical to you. We think we have here something that will be good enough as a sort of framework for the next few years. And the point is rather now to develop it to a direction where we actually get new segments through it. Like marketing people who actually, those marketing people who want to sort of measure the return of investment of their marketing. So you can there incorporate your campaigns, give your objectives, tell your effort, and then the system can tell you that, okay, your objectives are not being met in this particular channel of marketing, and you should maybe do this and that. Okay, so
you are through your slides?
I'm through my slides. I can talk more about...
Let me just... Ulf, you've been managing sales and marketing, right? So you would be a potential client for what is selling here. Is that true? Could be. So I'm just... let me just pose the first question before we open it up here. And that would be... Once this conversation is ongoing about your brand out there and you need to sort of listen and have light data about how you're performing, will we see marketing departments working shifts anytime soon just to have people at work after hours for monitoring this conversation that is never ending?
Well, the idea is, of course, that the tool will do it for you. You only get an alert when something happens, probably. So, of course, you can... Yeah, you can't guarantee. I mean, it's always sort of a trade-off. Do you want to get... Are you so nervous that you want to get every possible event, or is it just when it's really sure that something has happened? But that's, of course, one of the ideas of the service. Whether there's human beings in it or automated, we save the time for the customer. That's the point. So they wouldn't have to actually... But if it's a do-it-yourself tool, yes, then, but even then you get the alerts. It's not the idea that you study it.
What do you think, Ulf? Will we see marketing departments working shifts?
It could happen, yeah. I think we're actually going a little bit in that direction. So.
First step is to buy all your employees iPads, so they work shifts from their couch.
Yeah, of course.
It's a cheap investment.
I think unofficially there is a 24/7 marketing department.
Yeah, something like that. So we're going to open it up. Any questions for M-Brain and big data? Anybody scared of this in the back? Just wait for the mic and we will run swiftly.
Well, I appreciate your emphasis on partnership, but don't you think, combined with where your company comes from and your future focus, that your focus is kind of all over the place? That's the impression that I got.
No, actually, I mean, the ones that weren't highlighted, we've cut down the effort. Like I said, the offering is not so much emphasized anymore. And there's the channel communications things, I think we should actually be there, but realism is that we can't do that at the same time. So Not really. I mean, also the process. I mean, not really doing a high level of effort in innovation of process. It's rather about integrating this process where you actually have the automated process and the human beings on top of that. It is complex in itself to do this, but we've sort of reached already a process which is good enough. We've maintained the margin for years now, so it's not something we now do.
One more over here.
Hello, Per-Anders Blind, one of the consultants in Sweden, Northgrow. What kind of challenges have you met internally in the management group to align the forces to go in the same directions?
Well, one of the challenges is this, that typically people think it in terms of just the offering and the process. You know, sort of like revenue and margin, the sort of direct connection with those. And one of the things I mentioned already, the partnership, the ecosystem thing. There's this inertia at first to sort of tell people that we really need to do this at several levels. We need to have a machine-to-machine interface that's thought of as something you can plug in partners' data to. You need to think of sort of creatively that, okay, maybe this kind of companies would have a use for media measurements. And you can find very interesting kinds of companies, that's consultant companies, but typically they're somewhat related to media or marketing, but not sort of like anybody who would have talked with us before we first of all had an interface for plugging in data and had an approach where we actively seek new kinds of business models instead of just, do you want to resell us, which is sort of the traditional view of things. Of course, you can have both, optimally in the same partner. And I've seen already these cases where you start like with the reseller partnerships, and then you go forward. Once that works, you go to this direction of let's do something new together and plug in data under the hood.
Ulf, you can get ready, and we will have one more. Trygve, how are you monitoring the Manvit brand, or how is that? Oh, of course, we have to give him a hand.